Hey guys, it's Atriel, and today I'm going to show you how to get to Guarma in full. I've seen a lot of videos floating around, but they don't exactly show you the entire route there. They'll skip through it, and I'm getting a lot of people that are telling me that they're getting stuck in a canyon or in some kind of ravine, or they can't quite get there. So we're going to solve that today. So first off, you're going to need to go to Saint Denis. Saint Denis has a lot of the carts and shops that you're going to need. Shops are extremely important because in Guarma there are no shops. There's no ammo shops, no clothing shops, there's nothing. So you're going to need to stock up on any ammo, food, or stamina that you're going to need as far as the actual trip goes and once you get to Guarma. Now, the bullets are very important because the cops over there are very hostile and they come in a lot deeper than the ones in the normal map do. And you're also going to need a lot of food because you could fall down there. And again, if you get into trouble over there, you're not going to be able to heal yourself any other way. And the horse food is going to be very important because this is going to be a long trip. And I'm going to show you how to bring your own horse with you. Not a lot of people have explained how, but I'm going to show you how. Now, first off, once you get done getting everything you're going to need for the actual trip, you're going to need a two-wheel, one-horse cart. This is very important. No other cart can make it through the glitch area that we're going to be going through. Now, it is very important that it doesn't have any cargo or isn't too heavy, so make sure that it is a one-horse, two-wheel, no cargo. Now, this is the exact spot you're going to need to go to. Once you have your waypoint set on that, you're going to start your trip. Now, on the way, things are going to happen. Player assassinations, you might run into some enemies as far as AI goes, and try to run away from them. Shoot them if they get close because it really sucks to die and have to go all the way back to Saint Denis and start your trip across the map all over again. So make sure if possible to run if they're not instigating anything, and if they do instigate anything, drop them dead. Next, once you get to the spot, this is where you're going to want to go up. Now, it's very important that you understand to sprint all the way up. Do not stop halfway. Make sure that once you start heading up, you're spamming A, and you're going to hit all the way up. Now, this is a perfect run right here because I don't fall. I just make a little minor pause, and I keep it going, and I get up top. Now, sometimes in that little glitch spot, you're going to fall. You're not going to fall off of your cart. You're just going to like fall back onto your cart. It's very important that you stay calm. Just get back on. Just hit Y and get back on. It happened in Serendipity here. And you'll see her fall back. She remained calm, got back up, hit Y, and then started hitting A again. And she was able to make it up just fine. Now, as far as getting your horses up here, this is a little tricky, but not very. You have to whistle them up. Now, that little glitch line is where they're going to get stuck at. Now, don't worry about you slipping down, because it's a lot harder to fall down than you think. All you need to do for your horse to get up here is whistle them close, and then you can just simply jump on them once they pass that line and jump up. Now, that right there was a perfect run. Sometimes your horse is not going to want to cooperate, and it's going to get stuck down there. Now, I'm going to show you how that happens, because Serendipity's horse also got stuck down there. Now, as you can see, that little glitch spot works both ways. It's hard to get up or down it. To get down, you're going to have to die or blow yourself up or some sort of jump off a cliff to get down. Now, if your horse gets stuck on that glitch spot, just nudge him a little bit. Go on each side and just nudge him, and there he goes. And then he'll come up over the line, and you should be able to just hop on him and bring him on up. Now, once you have your horses up here, this is where it's going to start getting interesting, because now we are out of the map. So I'm going to set a marker towards the first place you want to go. That way you know exactly where you need to be heading. Now out here, it's not too specific as far as direction goes because it's out of the map. As long as you don't go too far north or too far away from the map, you should be fine. Now, for this part, you just got to be careful with the boulders. There are a few little dips here and there, but you should be fine. The cactuses are transparent, or the cacti are transparent. So you're not going to run into those. You just want to make sure that you don't jump off a cliff or hit any boulders. Once you get to the first waypoint, the second waypoint is going to be a little further. It's going to be over here, down here. And this is also a pretty straightforward run. There are a few more interesting things to run along the way, but we'll talk about those as we reach them. But anyway, so make sure you keep heading towards the marker. Don't head off too close to the map because you can fall. And if you fall back in, you got to restart the process. And make sure you don't head away too far away from the map because you will start to glitch out and it will freeze your game. Now, everything in here is transparent, except for the trees. The cacti are still transparent, but the trees are not, so don't go full speed at a tree. Now, out here, there are also animals. These animals do not run. They are weird to say the least. You can interact with them, but they don't interact by themselves. You can shoot them, you can stab them, you can do whatever you want, but they're not gonna act on their own. Now, you can also skin them and take the items that they give, but I don't recommend it. It's not worth keeping on you for the entire trip, especially since they're not going to be worth anything. And if you go all the way to Guarma, you're not going to be able to keep it anyway, because there is a drop that we are going to purposefully have to do. So they're not going to be there after that. So there is no point in taking the carcass or any of the pelts with you. Now, once you interact with those, because most of the people that I've seen either shoot them or mess with them in some kind of way, but once you get done playing with the animals, you can keep on the way. And this is also a pretty straightforward run. The cacti are still transparent. There's a lot less danger to this area, so you shouldn't run into any issues as far as that area goes. The next marker is going to be more for show, to show you, just the south. You can just head south. I like to set the marker because I like looking for the marker. But you're going to put it right down there, because that whole little river situation, that's what we're going to be going around. Now, go back to fast forward. Now, all the cacti are still transparent. You don't have to worry about those. There shouldn't be anything dangerous along the way. Very few dips that you can actually fall onto. You have to be very careful with that, because you didn't bring infinite amount of food. And some people ignore the advice and don't get food at all, which is a very dangerous path to take. So keep heading towards the marker. This one's a little bit further than the last one, but it shouldn't take horribly long. As you can see, we've reached the lake, or the river, I mean. Now, this is the little road down that you're going to want to take. This is the only way to get down that doesn't involve you falling. So you're going to want to look for that area right there to head downward on. Now, once you get down here, you're going to want to go all the way around the river. You can technically swim across it, but depending on your horse, you might not make it. And depending on whether you have any energy for your horse that you can give it, any food, then you might not make it. Serendipity has made the trip, and we also have advanced horses. So the only part you should have to swim across is this one part right here. Now, it's not too far, and I have made it with a scrawny nag before. So you should be able to do it just fine, as long as you're not spamming A or freaking your horse out. But do make sure that your horse is rested before you make this little swim, because it would be very embarrassing to have this little swim be the part where you go down. Now, you should also be able to just go right up on the shore and continue your route around, and there shouldn't be any other obstacles as far as that goes. Now, there is some interesting stuff, because this is the point where you're going to really start noticing some glitchy items, like the end of this riverbed, where you can see both the layerings to the water and how it just abruptly ends, no animation of a shore or anything. Now, there is another area around this little corner here that's a lot worse than that one, which I'm going to show you guys. You don't have to technically go through any of this. You can just swim right across that little river part right there and just keep on going. I like looking at this one, because I like seeing the ways that the games make the games and how they make the effects that they do. And this is a very good example of it. This is the end of the river, and you can see the fish, both the layers, and how the fish act underwater, because I was always under the assumption that the water is throughout, but here obviously is just two simple sheets of water animation that make that effect. But once you get done looking at it, you can continue your way around the river, and it's going to be also pretty straightforward. There's going to be a way up that we're going to be taking here in a minute, but first I believe we have one more rock that we have to swim around. Before we get to that spot, there is this one box that we're going to run into that's just kind of floating. You can shoot it, but it won't leave any marks. You can't really interact with it, but it is something cool to look at while you're on the way. Maybe get a screenshot of it. I'm not sure what that box is for, but there it is. But do make sure you keep going around the river. Don't go off too far because you can get yourself stuck in certain areas out here. Remember that this part of the game was not made for you to be in. This is completely out of the map and they have no intentions on anyone being out here. Now you're going to have to go around that little rock, and then once you go around that rock, you're going to see the rock wall. Now you're going to want to follow this rock wall for good little ways. And you'll see when you start getting close. But this is going to be a dangerous part to be going through, as there is a lot of dips and turns, and some of the items out here can be interacted with as far as the rocks go and some of the foliage. So the cacti still remain unable to interact with. See, I fell right there, and I've been doing this for a good little bit. Now you're going to start seeing these little sand dunes that go up. You're not going to be able to take a lot of these up there. There is one that you'll see doesn't have a little wall at the top, and that's this one. And you should be able to walk right up it. There's no glitch to that one necessary. Now, once you get there, this is going to be the area you're going to be at. Now, if you head too far south, you'll see how the map simply ends right there. You are not going to want to go in there. You go too far in there, and it will crash your game. And we're going to be heading to the very corner of it. Let me see if I can get a good look at it. I've set a marker right near the corner of it because that's going to be the point where you should start seeing the Guarma map. So set your marker to the east, a little close to that corner. Doesn't technically matter as long as you head towards the east. And start heading there. Now this part is fairly straightforward. There's not too much danger until the end. There's a few dips and turns, but nothing horribly extreme. You'll notice that there's a lot less foliage out here. There's no cacti or anything. Now, be very careful not to head off to the left and fall off of this canyon, because we are on top of a canyon. And if you head too far to the west or to your right, you are going to get outside of the physical map, and it will crash your game if you head too far into it. So make sure you just simply keep heading east towards the marker that we've set. Now, this should be a pretty straightforward run up until the end when we actually get close to the end of the map, because we are heading towards the end of the map where we will be falling through the map. So that's always fun. But make sure that you don't fall on certain little dips in the middle. Make sure you do not head far south. I've had to restart this run before simply from wanting to step foot outside of there and crash my game. And this part is way too easy. It's fairly flat, especially through this desert. It doesn't start to get bumpy up until we start getting to the mountains. And once you see some grass and trees in the background, that's when you know you're getting close to the end of the map and when we will be checking the map or the radar to see where exactly we are at. But for now, it's a pretty straightforward run. Nothing to really keep an eye out for. I've explored this area some. I haven't really seen anything. So keep heading east. We should be running towards the end here soon, and you should be able to smell the seawater from Guarma here soon. Now that we're starting to get bumpy, there is the grass and trees in the background, so it is time to check the map and see Guarma. Where are you? There you are. Now this part is the last little part. You want to head off of that spot where it starts, but in the physical realm where we are currently at, it's mountains. So you want to head down a little south to where it's a little flatter. That way you can have a straight run down, because you're going to have to run off the end. Now, I haven't technically done it walking, but I've heard people say that they just go into a complete free fall into darkness instead of the Guarma map. So you're going to, once you find your nice little flat spot that you're going to be making the run at, you're going to want to go full speed until you fall off of the map. Now, I have Serendipity in front of us doing it so that we can see it. And it should be, there it is. And you fall right into Guarma. Once you respawn in Guarma, and any deaths that occur after this, you respawn in Guarma. But for now, you are in Guarma. Enjoy your time. Go kill the locals or whatever you want to do. Keep an eye out for the next video, and I'll show you everything you can do in Guarma. Until then, sub and like.